welcome back to somewhere. And in a very short amount of time, all of the contracts are gone as I expected. So the money has gone up for DS Agri. I'm going to leave the cash there. I don't actually know if the loan was touched. Nope. But I'm going to leave the loan and because the cash might be useful. I've transferred the sprayer back because I'm going to be back to the usual job of prepping fields, but I'm going to basically do a bit of jumping around so that you don't have to watch me continually do these same jobs over and over again. This is going to be the last episode of getting grass planted and fields carbo limed. That's my intent anyway. I still don't know what to plant in the little field. So that one won't get done, but we will get the other, the big field there planted with some alfalfa. But I'm going to carbo lime both so it's done, ready to go, because I'm kind of getting fed up of carbo liming, and you're probably getting fed up of seeing me carbo liming. So I'm going to load up the sprayer, and I'm just going to go get that job done. And essentially, we're going to do a bit of jumping around today. I'm going to get the liming done. We're going to get the alfalfa planted. And I'm going to get the alfalfa rolled. It looks to me like the number of days per week hasn't switched yet. I should actually check the options and make sure that I did set that. Yes. I'm not sure if we need a season change as well as a week change for that to stick. I guess I'll find out. I was going to go that way to get to the little field, but screw it, I'm just going to go my usual way. I've not ever played with more than 2 days per week, so I don't know what the interface is going to look like, but we will find out, I guess. So, yep, something that I looked at last time, and it's something that I'm aware of on this map, is that there aren't many grass fields, and what I might end up doing is adding a few more in, so that there are a few more contracts for folks to do. So a few appropriately sized fields, the farmers might decide to reseed with grass, shall we say. Let's get a few more pallets of carbo lime. The other things that I've done, I've updated better contracts to the latest version from Matrix's GitHub. And one of the versions between the version I had and the version that's on here now had a change to to landowner behavior to slow down when they do work on their land. So hopefully that'll help with grabbing contracts. I've added in a liquid silo, which should let us store carbo lime. So something that I'll probably do in the future. I wasn't too fussed on doing it for this set of jobs. I've added in auto drive course, because I figured that would be useful. Let's turn the sprayer on, and I think that's it. So yeah, made a few changes over the last day or so. Yeah, I think that's everything that I've tweaked. This field doesn't seem too bad, actually, which is nice. Oh, there's a tree there. Have I already done this field? No, I definitely have not. Okay. Some of it's been over. oversprayed. Okay, interesting. The detection seems to be a bit funky. Let's get into a different bit of the field. Okay, let's try toggling on and off auto application. Because it seems to think we are up above, way above, and we're not. That's weird. I'm just going to nip into the field next door. That's not detecting anything. Okay, something funky's going on with that field. I will ignore that one and focus on the field we actually want to work on, I guess. Let's get down here. Try this field. Strange things are happening. Let's disconnect it and reconnect it. Okay. I'll be back. Right. I think I have worked out what the problem was. I am not certain, but I think so. I had downloaded the save game from the server through Giant's web interface, and it had downloaded as a zip file rather than using. I usually use an FTP app, file transfer protocol, if you're not sure what that means, and it was a zip file, and I had unzipped it, but I had left the zipped version in the folder as well, and the game was trying to load the save from the zip file, and basically it wasn't working. And I think that was the problem. I'm not certain, but I think that was the problem, because it seems to be behaving now. So yeah, I'm guessing it was struggling with either interacting with some of the files or loading some of the files or something. I don't know. I'm hoping it's sorted now anyway. So we'll try again, and hopefully I've started OBS recording. I have. That's also good, because it's taken me a little while to work that out, because I couldn't see anything wrong, and then I spotted in the I had the console open, not that kind of console, the console, the debug console, and I noticed as I was exiting that it flashed up a warning about the save game being a zip file, and that reminded me that I hadn't deleted the zip file when I had uncompressed it, and everything seems to be working now. So that's cool. Panic over. So after that little lesson, I'll nice relaxing Sunday afternoon in the track day. Yeah, so my plan is I'll get these two fields carbo lined. And I'll jump in and out as I'm doing it. I just want to actually get these jobs finished so that we can make some progress. I'll get the big field seeded with alfalfa. Still don't know what I'm going to put in this little field. But we'll get that big field seeded with alfalfa. I need to get that rolled as well, as I said, before definitely the weekends, if not the day, and because we're still on 1 day weeks before the day ends. I need to put more carbo lime in. So we'll get that done. That'll be today's video. probably then in the next video, we'll skip ahead again, keep the clock rolling, keep the crops growing. I want to then go around and make sure all of them are fertilized, and then we'll keep skipping. And I think, I can check, can't I? So Eagles is the guy who jumped on and did the contracts, and he has played a lot more Terralife than I have. And if I can find here, so we're looking at late June, early July, probably for baling contracts. So we've got way to go to get to those. But if with nothing to do on the farm, we'll just skip ahead to get to that point, to be honest. Yeah, the other thing, I have had a look, and because I'm recording this before most people have seen the last video, the patrons have had access to it for a little while. Most of you haven't. If you want early access, go get on Patreon as a paid member, not just as a free member. Yeah, I have had a look, and the landscape grass, I think one of you has pointed out to me. Thank you. Yes. Sorry, I'm so bad with names. See, I look at your name because you comment on almost every video. I still can't pull it out of my brain. I know there's 2 S's. And I'm sure from that you'll know who you are. And thank you for pointing out to me. I'm going to go look. God, I'm so bad with names. Because you did confirm it as well. But yes, from the landscape grass, we do get grass silage. So that's cool, because that's going to be really useful. I might replant it anyway, because I'm not sure whether we'll be able to fertilize it to maximize the yield. Even, yeah, so. But yeah, so we don't need to replant that. We can just mow it, which is cool. I don't know whether we could actually graze it as well. Whether we could put an expandable pasture on there and graze it. I don't even know whether the animal pen supports expandable pastures. But my plan is indirect grazing, which is part of the reason we've planted such a big grass field. Because we can indirect graze our cows. And that's essentially, a low effort way of feeding the cows when the grass is growing. That's not going to pick up that I need to apply. In fact, that's good enough, I think. Yeah, that's good enough. That strip counts. Let's just check them. EH. Yeah, that'll do. Yeah, so that's, and it's something that I use quite a lot. I don't know how often others use it. You will have lost game sound for a moment while I just checked OBS again. I really need to do some fault finding on why I have OBS crashes. Often as I do. Well, not crashes, it just stops recording. Yeah, yeah, it's one, I don't know how many other people actually use the indirect grazing thing, but it's one that I quite like, because you just go, you mow grass, you take it, you feed your cows grass. And even more so with Terralife Plus, because it's intended to be a pretty complete feed. So, yep, that will be a big part of our feeding approach. Obviously, you can't store it. You're not meant to store grass other than, baled as hay or silage. But yeah, that's a big part of the plan. Through the summer, it's one that I haven't watched his videos in ages, actually. I'm so off on my regular YouTube watching, particularly for real farming, actually. The cow farmer Dan used to do it a fair bit if the grass was growing, but the ground wasn't really good for getting the cows out. they would sometimes indirect graze if they could get a tractor on it without worrying about damaging it too much, but they didn't want to put cows on it. They would get the loading wagon out and do that. Right, yeah. Anywho, I'm going to get this field carbo limed, and I'll be back to ramble some more. Carbo liming done for this year at least, and should be done in the excessive amounts that we've had to do. I brought a 300 litre pallet of alfalfa seeds on the assumption that alfalfa uses a similar low amount of seed to the grasses. That might not be a valid assumption because it's a different kind of crop, but it seems to be going down quite low, so hopefully that was a safe assumption. And now we're going to get this big field planted. I think, I might be wrong, I don't know actually, I was thinking about planting a root crop into the little field, because I didn't really mess with any of those on Poligny, and it might be interesting, if at the very least for working out how to edit the KS6B to harvest the Terralife root crops. So yeah, we might put in some fodder carrots, something like that, just to give those a go. Because that was the one field that we didn't get round to harvesting on that save before we had the 1.2 update, which meant I would have needed a new save, and we'd stopped and transferred to doing this exclusively. So yeah, and it's a small field, so even if we end up using normal harvesting equipment, it'll be okay. So yeah, that seems like a sensible idea to me. We'll probably need some root crops for the feeding at some point. Yeah, the apple trees, I think I'll probably use some of the area that's got the landscape grass in to put in. I really want to see what they're like for feeding with. I think that's quite a cool mechanic that didn't get to explore, so just need to make sure I do that at some point in the summer. That'll be good. Yeah, have yet to see those in action, so looking forward to that. Yeah, so really it's just a case of getting the alfalfa in the ground, getting it rolled. Well, let's just check the calendar actually quickly. Fodder beet, fodder. No, we're not going to be planting fodder carrots. So I'll need to check if we can plant normal carrot, if we can feed normal carrots. If we can, we'll plant some normal carrots in that little field and use those in the feeding, which we have done before because they're the same as the premium DLC crop, but it could be useful to have. It could be useful to have. Unless you guys have got an alternative idea now, actually, to plant them there. I hadn't checked the growth calendar, and I didn't realise that we had to plant fodder carrots quite so early. Anyway, no big deal. No big deal. That seemed to miss. Maybe it's just a weird texture, so it looked like it missed a bit, but maybe not. Maybe it's just a bit I didn't actually plough when we ploughed this field. Or in Courseplay ploughed this field, because I did not plough this field because it was quite a small plough. Yeah. It's nice getting everything in the ground. And obviously, it's been a bit of a slow start because nothing was planted with what we wanted. Sometimes when I start these things up, I would have easy devved some of these crops in, like a grass field. Prime candidate to just easy dev and get that in. But we've done the work this time. done the work. Yeah, I haven't watched yet, but I have seen that DJ has released a video about pastures and grazing, I think. Certainly about grazing. I've not got my phone out, I've just dropped my phone on the floor because I was watching a video while I was doing some of the other background stuff. And as I paused the video, I knocked my phone on the floor. So when I stop, I'll remind myself what it was about. I've not watched it yet, but it looks like there's more animal-related stuff coming to FS25, which is cool. Always good if Giants are improving how animals work in the game, and particularly if it then makes it easier for modders to do even cooler stuff. That's what we really like, isn't it? That's what we really like. And if it brings some amount of coolness to what the guys on console can do, then that's also good. But I think I'm going to, rather than just doing 3 laps of the field, the seed usage is looking pretty good. I'm going to spin around here. Do a spinneroonie. Anyone get the reference? To help with the reference, I have started watching, but I'm only on about episode 2. Been watching the Netflix documentary on Mr. McMahon. Kind of interesting, quite cool actually to get behind the scenes on that. Yeah, it's quite cool. Obviously, maybe not obviously, because some of you are new here still. I grew up as a massive fan of what was WWF wrestling. Was lucky enough to go and see a few live events when they came to the UK, back when it was much rarer for them to come to the UK. She went to, I think it was the first time they came to the UK, when they performed at the Albert Hall in the UK. Royal Albert Hall. They made a big deal of the fact that it was the Royal Albert Hall in the UK. I got to go to that. I got to go and see SummerSlam in the UK, and then they did their first big pay-per-view event in the UK. But yeah, it's really cool seeing. Obviously, he's allegedly a bit of a sleazy guy, but he's a character, let's say that, and obviously provided a lot of entertainment for an awful lot of people. Not something that I pay attention to so much these days. Something that I lost interest in as I'm going to say characters, but athletes, whatever, however you want to consider them, that I enjoyed watching, got old and stopped taking part. And I found it hard to relate to the new performers. And didn't have time for it. So, anywho, I'm going to get some of this done, and I'll be back with you lot in a bit. So I've not made much progress, but I did just quickly check the DJ Graham video. It looks like it was an early release of the next issue of the Farm Sim magazine in Germany, maybe. And it's basically expandable pastures is coming to base game, or it's dynamic pastures, so you can take a grass field, you can stick a fence around it, you can put your animals in it, and they'll graze. That's pretty darn cool. Well done, Giants, assuming it works properly, you know. Yeah, that sounds very cool. That sounds very cool. So looking forward to seeing how that actually behaves. Great addition to the game, particularly as it's base game, so it's on console. Yeah, so I guess pick up a copy of the Farm Sim magazine if you want to see a little bit more about that. Use partner code Disturbed if you want to keep helping me out with my partnership goals and that kind of stuff, because that's always good. And yeah, so kind of interesting. I guess maybe they released the magazine a little bit early somewhere, or someone got hold of a copy of the magazine early somewhere in Germany, because DJ was saying that he was using a Google Translate of, and it looked like a picture Google Translate of the German. So anyway, kind of funky, kind of exciting. I find it quite fun. I went on to Reddit today, and seeing people bitching about FS25 and the features that they think it should have that it doesn't have, that they think are essential. It's like it doesn't have irrigation. Well, I live in a country where very little irrigation happens for farming. So for me, irrigation is not essential. About the only crops that in the UK you see being irrigated are potatoes. So if you're not and the last few years, very little of even that, actually, because we've had so much wet weather that no farmers needed to irrigate crops. I'd be surprised. Could be wrong, not an expert, but yeah. So saying that having a farming game without irrigation is, depends where you live, and a bunch of other stuff. It's like really, and about how giants aren't moving the game forwards and all that kind of stuff. It's like, just because the feature that you think is essential hasn't been added doesn't mean the game hasn't progressed. I mean, a feature like dynamic pastures is huge. That's to make it base game, to make it work on console, is a huge amount of dev time. And I think, certainly for the way that I play, massively more important than being able to put being able to put a water pivot in a field, because that's very location specific. Every map, 99% of the maps that I play would not use irrigation pivots. 100% of the maps that I play would use animals grazing in fields. I'm guessing the split will vary based on the player, but I'm guessing there's a lot more maps that would use animals grazing in fields, and a lot more players that would use that than players that would use irrigation pivots, even with the fact that a lot of the player base, a lot of the money from player base is in the US. So yeah, just because the feature that you want isn't being added to the game doesn't mean the game isn't being progressed and developed. And it doesn't mean that FS25 is just FS4 with mods or whatever other bollocks people say. I watched Scroft. Scroft has an interesting approach to the information release. I think he does a weekly video, and I watched his one from this week. And so I've not been keeping up with the information. He highlighted some really cool features that I'd missed, which was like the weather bouncing off the ground. Do we need that? No. But visually, it adds a level of detail that's really quite cool. Yeah. Do we need dynamic pastures for someone who plays with a similar style to me? Hell yes. Hell yes, we do. Do we need irrigation pivots for someone who plays like me? Hell no. Do not care. I played on a map that had those built in. Did I use them? No. And I think they worked for fertilizing, and they were so incredibly slow that it was not worth it, even as a novelty feature. Yeah. If I'm offending you with what I'm saying, oh well. What I'm trying to illustrate is that the features that you consider to be vitally important are maybe not vitally important to everyone, and the fact that Giants haven't chosen to add them at this point doesn't mean they aren't developing the game. And there's only so much development time. They have to pick what they prioritize what they develop based on what they know about the player base and what they think the player base will deem important, and what you think is important based on what you know, and maybe what you and your buddies think is important will be biased based on you and how your buddies play. And that's not how the majority of the player base play, even if that's how all you and all your buddies and all your friends on Discord play. Because there's a polarization. And I understand that. I know that. And I know that the majority of the people that I interact with will have a biased play style because I interact with people who are interested in things like Maze Plus. And you just have to trust that Giants, as the company whose livelihood depends on the success of the one game that they, yes, they're supporting another racing game, but the one game that they develop, if this game is a flop, their business fails, you've got to trust that they know they're doing it, what they're doing. They know their shit. Yes, they rely on modders to make the game even better, but the base game has to be good. Modders can't add dynamic pastures to console. So, yeah. God, I have no idea where my brain is going to end up when I start this stuff. I do like how little amount of seed produced. I have no idea what that bag of seed cost me. I'll have a look in a moment. Yeah, we've got a long enough run. Seeds. Fodder seeds. Alfalfa. So it was $2,000, so it cost a decent amount, but it's going to last us a really long time. So, yeah. One of the things I'm going to do in the quieter period is get everything put away. Obviously, I've been very focused on getting everything in the ground. We're going to focus on getting stuff put away at some point. And although the yard extension was kind of aimed at the contracting business, I'm going to spread into that a little bit as well, because some of those sheds are much deeper than the sheds that are on the main farm. So things like the combines are going to go in there. Some of the bigger kit will live on the extended yard because it just won't fit in the current one. I managed to put the sprayer in one of the deeper sheds in the existing yard, but yeah. By the time we've got all the grass working kit, the animal feeding kit, the feed, we're going to be struggling. Yep. I'm going to skip several rows there and miss a bit. So we're going to have to back up anyway because I was trying to be lazy. And as we say, slow is smooth, smooth is fast, fast is not fast. So I need to get this rolled. And then that will be all grass planted. And we just have that little jobby to deal with. And fertilization. How much fertilization we've got to do. It's not going to take long because, thankfully, this thing ever finishes saving. This ever finishes saving. Didn't actually get to check what I wanted to check. The guys at DS Agri brought the fert spreader that I like, so we'll borrow that for a bit to do the fert spreading until we've got access to some more organic fertilizer to prep our fields with. Lift the seeder up. But yeah, because it's all grasses, it shouldn't need that much. That one's going to need a bit. Some of these shouldn't be too bad, I don't think. Obviously, the cornfield the maize silage field we did when we planted it, so that should be fine. Yeah. But once that's done, we can just power through until we've got things to do. Or, yeah, till we've got things to do, essentially. Right, let's lift you up. We're not going to go exploring. I was going to suggest we go around the outside and have a look at the town, but we'll drive around the edge of the field instead, because I know it's quite snug to get back in. It might take me 10 minutes to get back. So the cedar needs a wash and a repair, and should be maybe serviced and put away. We need a tractor to use the roller, so we might as well just fire up the old 4440 again. Where did I put the rollers away? I don't think I did. Doesn't feel like a me thing. They might actually still be attached to a tractor. That feels more like something I would have done. There, okay. Yeah, you. Still attached to you, aren't they? Yeah, you can see that's Robert Sprout. So we'll just use this one again. And I can't get moaned at by Cartech for leaving the tractor running because it's my tractor. I will switch it off. Save on diesel. Go round so we don't destroy the herb grass that's growing. An interesting little spot. It's back garden, I guess. Don't want to go in their back entrance. Unless they need their lawn mowing, I guess. Right. So rolling it is, and then it'll be done. Well, apart from one more field. Then we'll be done. Taking a little while, hasn't it? It's taken a little while. What's this video? Number 6. So 7 videos. Oh well. Hey, at least it's not at a normal pace of my series, because this would have been like a month's worth of videos. Yeah. Hadn't thought of that, had ya? I know I'm missing bits with rolling, it's fine. As long as most of it's rolled, then I won't. It'll be okay. It's mostly seeing the whole map telling me it needs rolling that bugs me. The odd missed bit is not the end of the world. Especially with 6-metre rollers. But they're cheaper than big rollers. It's a nice size field of maize silage. Silage maize even. It will be turned into maize silage. Let's get lined up along here now. Yep, that'll do. Then we'll be good for... Will we? maybe will be good for running normally. We'll see how much we miss. Get that one up. I might end up having to do some bits. Yeah, we're gonna have to do some of that edge. He says he wasn't worried about missing some bits, but that's maybe too. Yeah, that's too much missed. I'll have to come back and get that. That'll be okay. At least we've got a GPS set. That's not much of a headland, is it? No, it is not. What we'll do is we'll do the miss bit now, so I don't forget. Well, I have done a bit more of the headland. Hard to describe the random route that I have driven as a headland since you were last here, so I won't even attempt to bother. You'll see as I go around a bit more. It's rolling the field, so I guess it doesn't really matter too much. We need to cover the whole field anyway, so yeah. I didn't take the route I intended to take. That's what I'll say. But we didn't smash their back doors in, so it was okay. Didn't crash into anything, which was good. Apart from myself. I played a little bit more Dirt 2, and I tried an actual rally. I totaled my car on stage 2. Yep, hitting a tree at 100 miles an hour is apparently bad. Who knew? Not me, obviously. Anyway, I'm at this point probably just going to finish up rolling this field, because you've seen me do this many times. I'm out of rambling for today, and if you could give me some suggestions for that little field up there. You can't see me pointing, but I am, because I want to be planting that field in game and in real life, depending, well, for me tomorrow, for Patreon tomorrow, depending on how quickly I can get this edited and uploaded, and if you watch it when I initially provide early access. For those of you that are not, within about 2 or 3 hours of release of this video, so yeah, you better be on the ball, folks. You better be on the ball. Just to give you a quick look at the growth calendar for options, we've got Vetri. I'm not sure if that's meant as a cover crop, but actually no, that's a harvest window, isn't it? So we've got green corn, more silage corn, starch potatoes, beetroot. We're just in the back end of the soybean window if I don't sleep. We'll just turn around and I'll get the calendar back up, just so you know what your options are. All of the grasses, if we should plant more grasses. That's it, basically. So beetroot, carrots, or potatoes, or corn, or soybeans. Yeah, anyway. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Thank you to the patrons and the YouTube channel members. And I'll see you next time. Bye.